Tobacco smoking is the practice of burning tobacco and ingesting the smoke that is produced. The smoke may be inhaled, as is done with cigarettes, or simply released from the mouth, as is generally done with pipes and cigars. While passive smoking, also called secondhand smoke, is the inhalation of tobacco smoke, or environmental tobacco smoke, by persons other than the intended active smoker. It occurs when tobacco smoke enters an environment, causing its inhalation by people within that environment. In this video, you will find out the risks or effects of secondhand smoke to your health and what measures should you take in order to avoid or minimize it. Stay tuned. The effects of secondhand smoke on your health. First part, English. What is secondhand smoke? What does World Health Organization talks about secondhand smoke? What are the effects of secondhand smoke on your health? What harmful chemicals does tobacco smoke contain? Do secondhand smokers receive more toxic than active smokers? Why is it so hard to quit smoking? How to protect yourself and your loved ones from secondhand smoke. How to help someone quit smoking. Second part, Filipino. What is secondhand smoke? Passive smoking is the inhalation of tobacco smoke, called secondhand smoke, SHS, or environmental tobacco smoke, ETS, by persons other than the intended active smoker. It occurs when tobacco smoke enters an environment, causing its inhalation by people within that environment. Exposure to secondhand tobacco smoke causes disease, disability, and death. The health risks of secondhand smoke are a matter of scientific consensus. These risks have been a major motivation for smoke-free laws in workplaces and indoor public places, including restaurants, bars, and nightclubs, as well as some open public spaces. Concerns around secondhand smoke have played a central role in the debate over the harms and regulation of tobacco products. Since the early 1970s, the tobacco industry has viewed public concern over secondhand smoke as a serious threat to its business interests. Harm to bystanders was perceived as a motivator for stricter regulation of tobacco products. Despite the industry's awareness of the harms of secondhand smoke as early as the 1980s, the tobacco industry coordinated a scientific controversy with the purpose of stopping regulation of their products. What does World Health Organization talks about secondhand smoke? Secondhand smoke kills. This is according to WO's web post last 26 July 2021. Secondhand smoke is the smoke that fills enclosed spaces when people burn tobacco products such as cigarettes, bitumen and water pipes. There is no safe level of exposure to secondhand tobacco smoke, which causes more than 1.2 million premature deaths per year and serious cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. Almost half of children regularly breathe air polluted by tobacco smoke in public places, and 65,000 die each year from illnesses attributable to secondhand smoke. In infants, it raises the risk of sudden infant death syndrome. In pregnant women, it causes pregnancy complications and low birth weight. Smoke-free laws protect the health of non-smokers and are popular, as they do not harm business and they encourage smokers to quit. Why does secondhand smoke kills according to WHO? Both active and second-hand smokers suffer the effect of smoking tobacco. The tobacco epidemic is one of the biggest public health threats the world has ever faced, killing more than 8 million people a year around the world. More than 7 million of those deaths are the result of direct tobacco use, while around 1.2 million are the result of non-smokers being exposed to secondhand smoke. All forms of tobacco are harmful, and there is no safe level of exposure to tobacco. Cigarette smoking is the most common form of tobacco use worldwide. Other tobacco products include water pipe tobacco, various smokeless tobacco products, cigars, cigarillos, roll-your-own tobacco, pipe tobacco, Bitus and Cretex. Water pipe tobacco use is damaging to health in similar ways to cigarette tobacco use. However, the health dangers of water pipe tobacco use are often little understood by users. Smokeless tobacco use is highly addictive and damaging to health. Smokeless tobacco contains many cancer-causing toxins, and its use increases the risk of cancers of the head, neck, throat, esophagus and oral cavity, including cancer of the mouth, tongue, lip and gums, as well as various dental diseases. Over 80% of the 1.3 billion tobacco users worldwide live in low and middle-income countries, where the burden of tobacco-related illness and death is heaviest. Tobacco use contributes to poverty by diverting household spending from basic needs such as food and shelter to tobacco. The economic costs of tobacco use are substantial and include significant healthcare costs for treating the diseases caused by tobacco use as well as the lost human capital that results from tobacco-attributable morbidity and mortality. In some countries, children from poor households are employed in tobacco farming to boost family income. Tobacco-growing farmers are also exposed to a number of health risks, including the green tobacco sickness. What are the effects of secondhand smoke on your health? Secondhand smoke is a mixture of smoke from a cigarette's burning end and smoke breathed out by smokers. More than 7,000 compounds are found in secondhand smoking. Hundreds of them are poisonous, and roughly 69 of them can cause cancer. Since the 1964 Surgeon General's report, 2.5 million non-smokers have died as a result of secondhand smoke inhalation. There is no safe threshold of secondhand smoke exposure. In newborns and children, secondhand smoking causes a variety of health concerns, including more frequent and severe asthma attacks, lung infections, ear infections, and sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. Every year, more than 1,000 babies die as a result of smoking during pregnancy. Coronary heart disease, stroke, and lung cancer are just a few of the health problems induced by secondhand smoke in adults. Cardiovascular disease is caused by secondhand smoke. Exposure to secondhand smoke has immediate adverse effects on the cardiovascular system and can cause coronary heart disease and stroke. Secondhand smoke causes nearly 34,000 premature deaths from heart disease each year in the United States among non-smokers. Non-smokers who are exposed to secondhand smoke at home or at work increase their risk of developing heart disease by 25 to 30%. Secondhand smoke increases the risk for stroke by 20 to 30%. Secondhand smoke exposure causes more than 8,000 deaths from stroke annually. Breathing secondhand smoke can have immediate adverse effects on your blood and blood vessels, increasing the risk of having a heart attack. Breathing secondhand smoke interferes with the normal functioning of the heart, blood, and vascular systems in ways that increase the risk of having a heart attack. Even brief exposure to secondhand smoke can damage the lining of blood vessels and cause your blood platelets to become stickier. These changes can cause a deadly heart attack. People who already have heart disease are at especially high risk of suffering adverse effects from breathing secondhand smoke and should take special precautions to avoid even brief exposures. Lung cancer is caused by secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke causes lung cancer in adults who have never smoked. Non-smokers who are exposed to secondhand smoke at home or at work increase their risk of developing lung cancer by 20 to 30%. Secondhand smoke causes more than 7,300 lung cancer deaths among U.S. non-smokers each year. Non-smokers who are exposed to secondhand smoke are inhaling many of the same cancer-causing substances and poisons as smokers. Even brief secondhand smoke exposure can damage cells in ways that set the cancer process in motion. As with active smoking, the longer the duration and the higher the level of exposure to secondhand smoke, the greater the risk of developing lung cancer. SIDS is caused by secondhand smoke. Sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, is the sudden, unexplained, unexpected death of an infant in the first year of life. SIDS is the leading cause of death in otherwise healthy infants. Secondhand smoke increases the risk for SIDS. Smoking by women during pregnancy increases the risk for SIDS. Infants who are exposed to secondhand smoke after birth are also at greater risk for SIDS. Chemicals in secondhand smoke appear to affect the brain in ways that interfere with its regulation of infants' breathing. Infants who die from SIDS have higher concentrations of nicotine in their lungs and higher levels of cotinine, a biological marker for secondhand smoke exposure, than infants who die from other causes. Parents can help protect their babies from SIDS by taking the following 3 actions. Do not smoke during pregnancy. Do not smoke or allow smoking in your home or around your baby. Place your baby on his or her back for all sleep times, naps and at night. In children, secondhand smoke can cause major health concerns. Studies have shown that older children whose parents smoke are more likely to become ill. Their lungs do not develop as well as those who do not breathe secondhand smoke, and they are more susceptible to bronchitis and pneumonia. Children who breathe secondhand smoke are more likely to experience wheezing and coughing, and secondhand smoke can induce an asthma attack in a child. When children with asthma are exposed to secondhand smoke, their asthma attacks are more severe and frequent. A severe asthma episode can endanger a child's life. Ear infections are more common in children whose parents smoke around them. They also have fluid in their ears more frequently and require more ear tube placement operations. Parents can help protect their children from secondhand smoke by taking the following actions. Do not allow anyone to smoke anywhere in or near your home. Do not allow anyone to smoke in your car, even with the window down. Make sure your children's daycare centers and schools are tobacco-free. If your state still allows smoking in public areas, look for restaurants and other places that do not allow smoking. No smoking sections do not protect you and your family from secondhand smoke. What harmful chemicals does tobacco smoke contain? Tobacco smoke contains many chemicals that are harmful to both smokers and non-smokers. Breathing even a little tobacco smoke can be harmful. Of the more than 7,000 chemicals in tobacco smoke, at least 250 are known to be harmful, including hydrogen cyanide, carbon monoxide, and ammonia. Among the 250 known harmful chemicals in tobacco smoke, at least 69 can cause cancer. These cancer-causing chemicals include the following: acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is a clear liquid that burns easily. Acetaldehyde has a strong, fruity odor that in high concentrations can make breathing difficult. Also known as ethanol, acetaldehyde forms naturally in the body and in plants. Some of the acetaldehyde enters your blood, damaging your membranes and possibly causing scar tissue. It also leads to a hangover and can result in a faster heartbeat, a headache, or an upset stomach. The brain is most affected by acetaldehyde poisoning. It causes problems with brain activity and can impair memory. Aromatic amines. An aromatic amine is an organic compound consisting of an aromatic ring attached to an amine. It is a broad class of compounds that encompasses anilines, but also many more complex aromatic rings and many amine substituents beyond NH2. Such compounds occur widely. Aromatic amines are chemicals found in industrial and manufacturing plants, tobacco smoke, commercial hair dyes, and diesel exhaust. Many are carcinogens and endocrine disruptors that may increase the risk of breast cancer. Arsenic. Arsenic is a chemical element with the symbol as and atomic number 33. Arsenic occurs in many minerals, usually in combination with sulfur and metals, but also as a pure elemental crystal. Arsenic is a metalloid. Breathing in high levels of arsenic can cause a sore throat and irritated lungs. Swallowing high levels of arsenic can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle weakness and cramping, skin rashes, and other problems. Exposure to high enough amounts of arsenic can be fatal. Benzene. Benzene is a chemical that is a colorless or light yellow liquid at room temperature. It has a sweet odor and is highly flammable. Benzene evaporates into the air very quickly. Its vapor is heavier than air and may sink into low-lying areas. Benzene dissolves only slightly in water and will float on top of water. Benzene causes harmful effects on the bone marrow and can cause a decrease in red blood cells, leading to anemia. It can also cause excessive bleeding and can affect the immune system, increasing the chance for infection. Beryllium, a toxic metal. Beryllium is a steel-gray metal that is quite brittle at room temperature, and its chemical properties somewhat resemble those of aluminum. It does not occur free in nature. Beryllium is found in beryl and emerald, minerals that were known to the ancient Egyptians. Symptoms of chronic beryllium disease are breathing difficulties, shortness of breath, coughing, fatigue, weight loss, fever, and night sweats. Signs include enlargement of the liver, spleen and right heart, and kidney stones. 1,3-butadiene, a hazardous gas. 1,3-butadiene is a synthetic colorless gas that is practically insoluble in water and soluble in ethanol, ether, acetone, and benzene. It is used primarily as a monomer to manufacture many different types of polymers and copolymers and as a chemical intermediate in the production of industrial chemicals. When heated, 1,3-butadiene emits acrid fumes and is flammable. In the presence of air, it oxidizes to form explosive peroxides. The primary route of potential human exposure to this compound is inhalation. Acute exposure to 1,3-butadiene can cause irritation of the eyes, nasal passages and throat. At very high concentrations, inhalation of this gas can result in headache, fatigue, decreased blood pressure and pulse rate, central nervous system damage and unconsciousness. It is known to be a human carcinogen. NCI 05. In humans, inhalation of very high concentrations of 1,3-butadiene can result in CNS effects including lethargy, headache, drowsiness, fatigue, vertigo, ataxia, unconsciousness, coma, and respiratory depression and death. Cadmium, a toxic metal. Cadmium is a chemical element with the symbol Cd and atomic number 48. This soft silvery white metal is chemically similar to the two other stable metals in group 12, zinc and mercury. Cadmium and its compounds are highly toxic, and exposure to this metal is known to cause cancer and targets the body's cardiovascular, renal, gastrointestinal, neurological, reproductive, and respiratory systems. Chromium, a metallic element. Chromium is a chemical element with the symbol Cr and atomic number 24. It is the first element in group 6. It is a steely gray, lustrous, hard, and brittle transition metal. Chromium is the main additive in stainless steel, to which it adds anti-corrosive properties. Workers who breathe in high concentrations of hexavalent chromium may experience health effects, such as irritation to the lining of the nose ulcers, runny nose, breathing problems linked to wheeze, cough, shortness of breath. Pumene. Pumene, isopropylbenzene, is an organic compound that is based on an aromatic hydrocarbon with an aliphatic substitution. It is a constituent of crude oil and refined fuels. It is a flammable colorless liquid that has a boiling point of 152 degrees centigrade. Acute or short-term inhalation exposure to pumene may cause headaches, dizziness, drowsiness, slight incoordination, and unconsciousness in humans. Pumene has a potent central nervous system (CNS) depressant action characterized by a slow induction period and long duration of narcotic effects in animals. Ethylene oxide. Ethylene oxide is a flammable colorless gas with a sweet odor. It is used primarily to produce other chemicals, including antifreeze. In smaller amounts, ethylene oxide is used as a pesticide and a sterilizing agent. Exposure to ethylene oxide may cause headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, breathing difficulty, drowsiness, weakness, exhaustion, eye and skin burns, frostbite, and reproductive effects. Workers may be harmed from exposure to ethylene oxide. The level of exposure depends upon the dose, duration, and work being done. Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a strong-smelling, colorless gas used in making building materials and many household products. It is used in pressed wood products, such as particleboard, plywood, and fiberboard, glues and adhesives, permanent press fabrics, paper product coatings, and certain insulation materials. When formaldehyde is present in the air at levels higher than 0.1 parts per million ppm, some people may have health effects, such as watery eyes, burning sensations of the eyes, nose, and throat, coughing, wheezing, nausea, skin irritation. Nickel, a metallic element. Nickel is a chemical element with the symbol Ni and atomic number 28. It is a silvery white lustrous metal with a slight golden tinge. Nickel belongs to the transition metals and is hard and ductile. Exposure to various nickel compounds increases the risks of lung cancer and nasal cancer. Polonium-210, a radioactive chemical element. Polonium-210 is the radioactive isotope that caused the death of former Soviet spy Alexander Litvinenko in London in 2006. It is lethally toxic but rare. Polonium-210 is a known carcinogen. When inhaled, it causes lung cancer. When swallowed, it becomes concentrated in red blood cells before spreading to the liver, kidneys, bone marrow, gastrointestinal tract, and the testicles or ovaries. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, are a class of chemicals that occur naturally in coal, crude oil, and gasoline. They also are produced when coal, oil, gas, wood, garbage, and tobacco are burned. Naphthalene is a PAH that is produced commercially in the United States to make other chemicals and mothballs. Long-term health effects of exposure to PAHs may include cataracts, kidney and liver damage, and jaundice. Repeated skin contact to the PAH naphthalene can result in redness and inflammation of the skin. Breathing or swallowing large amounts of naphthalene can cause the breakdown of red blood cells. Tobacco-specific nitrosamines. A type of harmful, cancer-causing chemical found in tobacco and tobacco smoke. Tobacco-specific nitrosamines are formed when tobacco leaves are grown, cured, aged, and processed. Tobacco products can contain different amounts of tobacco-specific nitrosamines, depending on how they are made. The cigarette usually carries in its smoke significant doses of carcinogenic tobacco-specific nitrosamines, TSNAs, which have been implicated as causes of oral, lung, esophageal, and pancreatic cancer. Venal chloride. Venal chloride is a colorless gas that burns easily. Venal chloride is used primarily to make polyvinyl chloride, PVC. PVC is used to make a variety of plastic products, including pipes, wire and cable coatings, and packaging materials. Venal chloride is also produced as a combustion product in tobacco smoke. Venal chloride can irritate the eyes, mucous membranes, and respiratory tract. Escaping compressed gas or liquid can cause frostbite or irritation of the skin and eyes. Chronic exposure can cause permanent liver injury and liver cancer, neurologic or behavioral symptoms, and changes to the skin and bones of the hand. Do second-hand smokers receive more toxic than active smokers? Because there is no filter through which the smoke must pass, the smoke that burns off the end of a cigarette or cigar includes more dangerous elements than the smoke breathed by the smoker, according to Cleveland Clinic. Unfiltered nicotine and other hazardous compounds, according to experts, may pose a larger health risk to non-smokers than to smokers. Secondary smoking is also known to cause cancer due to the presence of over 7,000 compounds in the smoke, including at least 69 carcinogens. According to the Cancer Association of South Africa, CANSA, public health specialist Dr. Flavia Senkebuge feels there is sufficient scientific evidence on the health impacts of second-hand smoke. It demonstrates that SHS raises the risk of non-smokers dying from lung cancer and heart disease, as well as SIDS in infants, sudden infant death syndrome. In both children and adults, the immediate effects include provoking an asthma attack. While anyone who inhales unfiltered tobacco smoke is a danger, second-hand smoke has the potential to harm pregnant women and their unborn children, as well as newborns, young children, pets, the elderly, and anyone with a history of respiratory problems. People in the service profession, such as bartenders and waiters, should be cautious as well. Why is it so hard to quit smoking? The science behind why quitting smoking is so tough is simple. Nicotine is highly addictive, apparently as addictive as cocaine or heroin. However, any adult can walk into a pharmacy and purchase a pack of smokes with no questions asked. Nicotine is just as difficult, if not more difficult, to quit than heroin from a scientific sense, said Dr. Neil Benoitz, a nicotine researcher at the University of California, San Francisco. Smoking is the leading preventable cause of mortality in the world. According to the World Health Organization, more than 1.1 billion people smoke worldwide. More people are joining the ranks all the time. Every day, more than 3,200 adolescents aged 18 and under in the United States smoke their first cigarette, while another 2,100 youth and young adults progress from occasional to regular smoking. The renowned 1964 report Smoking and Health by the U.S. Surgeon General connected smoking to cancer. Another major Surgeon General's report on nicotine addiction, published in 1988, deemed nicotine to be as addictive as cocaine or heroin. Every addictive substance, including nicotine, releases dopamine, which makes it enjoyable to consume, Benoitz explained. When you stop smoking, you have a dopamine shortage, which creates dysphoria, which makes you feel nervous or unhappy. Nicotine is also a stimulant, according to Benoitz. It helps people concentrate, and they have difficulties focusing if they don't have a cigarette. The Food and Drug Administration plans to introduce new standards that would limit nicotine levels in tobacco products to levels that are minimally addictive or non-addictive. When the FDA will release its new ruling is unknown. Benoitz expressed cautious optimism that the FDA will force tobacco corporations to create non-addictive cigarettes. "I believe it would be the end of the tobacco epidemic," he stated if they did. Meanwhile, the argument over e-cigarettes, which are advertised as a healthy alternative to regular cigarettes, is raging. The vapor from an e-cigarette does not contain as many hazardous toxins as normal cigarette smoke. However, the majority of e-cigarettes include nicotine, and some contain harmful substances like formaldehyde. Critics of e-cigarettes argue that they are being marketed to children by being sold in a range of kid-friendly flavors such as pizza and cookies and cream. A lot of investigations on all of these substances are still needed, Benoitz added. There may be some risks associated with e-cigarettes that we are unaware of. Many people find it difficult to give up smoking on their own. Nicotine patches, nicotine gum, and smoking withdrawal drugs, according to Benoitz, have all been shown to boost a person's chances of stopping smoking. Quit lines and support groups can also be beneficial. As useful as medication can be, according to Gary A. Giovino, a nicotine researcher at the State University of New York at Buffalo, those who truly want to quit smoking must also be willing to change their lifestyle. People must concentrate on behavioral change, they must have the necessary skills, information, and social support. They require a strategy. Giovino, who quit smoking 40 years ago, is a professor and chair of his school's Department of Community Health and Health Behavior. According to Giovino, healthy diet could be a key component in helping smokers quit smoking. He plans to start a study to see if there's a link between smokers' vitamin D levels and their ability to quit. He also wants to see academics look at the effects of plant-based diets, B vitamins, and hydration on nicotine addiction. To assist smokers quit smoking, Giovino recommends tapping into the mind-body connection and using yoga and deep breathing exercises. After a meal, instead of taking a long, deep breath and exhaling with the 7,000 chemicals, a smoker might take a long, deep breath and exhale without them, he said. It's also critical for individuals who have decided to stop to prepare themselves for the challenges ahead, according to Giovino. It's a genuine roller coaster ride of not feeling good, irritability, and cravings, he explained. It may be really acute for the first several days, then subside and return. However, the longer you go without smokes, the more your brain adapts to its new environment, and the faster you recover. The trip inevitably comes to an end. How to protect yourself and your loved ones from secondhand smoke. The Surgeon General has determined that there is no safe threshold of secondhand smoking exposure. Even a small amount of secondhand smoking can be dangerous. According to the Surgeon General, the only way to totally protect yourself and your loved ones from the risks of secondhand smoke is to live in a smoke-free environment. Secondhand smoke exposure cannot be avoided by opening a window, sitting in a separate room, or using ventilation, air conditioning, or a fan. You may safeguard yourself and your loved ones by doing the following. Making your home and car smoke-free. Asking people not to smoke around you and your children. Making sure that your children's daycare center or school is smoke-free. Choosing restaurants and other businesses that are smoke-free. Thanking businesses for being smoke-free. Letting owners of businesses that are not smoke-free know that secondhand smoke is harmful to your family's health. Teaching children to stay away from secondhand smoke. Avoiding secondhand smoke exposure, especially if you or your children have respiratory conditions, if you have heart disease, or if you are pregnant. Talking to your doctor or healthcare provider more about the dangers of secondhand smoke. Quitting smoking is the single most effective approach to protect your family from secondhand smoke. In the interim, you may safeguard your family by eliminating smoking from your home and vehicles and only smoking outside. A no-smoking policy at home can also help you quit. How to help someone quit smoking. General hints for friends and family. Do accept the fact that the individual attempting to quit is the one in charge. This is their problem and lifestyle shift, not yours. Do inquire whether the person wants you to inquire on their well-being on a regular basis. Not simply if they've stayed quit, but how they're feeling. Do let the person know that they are welcome to chat to you whenever they need encouragement. Do assist the quitter in obtaining what they require, such as hard candy to suck, straws to chew, and fresh vegetables cut up and stored in the refrigerator. Spend time with the individual who is quitting to keep their mind off smoking. Go to the movies with them, go for a walk to get through a craving, what many refer to as a nicotine fit, or go for a bike ride together. Try to consider it from the perspective of the person leaving. Their habit may feel like an old friend who has always been there for them when things got tough. It's difficult to let go of something. Make your home smoke-free, which means no one is allowed to smoke in any section of the house. Do not keep any lighters or ashtrays in your home. Anything that reminds them of smoking should be removed. Smoke-scented clothing should be washed. Clean draperies and carpets. To assist eliminate cigarette odors, use air fresheners, and don't forget about the car. Do assist the individual quitting with a few tasks, babysitting, cooking, errands, or anything else that will relieve the stress of quitting. Don't forget to congratulate yourself on your progress. It's a huge deal to quit smoking. Thank the quitter for not exposing others to the dangers of secondhand smoke. Don't mistrust their willingness to leave. Your belief in the person quitting helps them remember that they can accomplish it. Don't pass judgment, nag, preach, tease, or reprimand. This could make the individual quitting feel even worse. You don't want your loved one to numb their pain with a cigarette. When someone is quitting smoking and experiencing nicotine withdrawal, don't take it personally if they seem grumpy. Tell them you understand the symptoms are real, but that they won't persist indefinitely. In a few weeks, the symptoms normally improve. Don't give any advice. Simply inquire as to how you may assist them with their plan or program. If the person who's quitting slips, do remind the individual who is quitting how long they went without smoking before they fell off the wagon. Do assist the person quitting to recall all of the reasons for resigning and to forget about the lapse as quickly as possible. Continue to offer encouragement and support. Congratulate the individual who is quitting for attempting to quit and tell them that it may take several efforts before they succeed. Don't chastise, tease, nag, accuse, or make the person quitting feel bad. Whether they smoke or not, make sure they know you care about them. If the person who's quitting relapses. According to studies, most people attempt to quit smoking multiple times before succeeding. When people who are trying to quit smoking go back to smoking like they did before they tried to quit, this is known as a relapse. If you have a relapse, consider it practice for the next time. Don't give up trying to help and encourage your loved one. If the person you care about is unable to quit or reintroduces smoking, Praise them for trying to stop and for staying smoke-free for however long, days, weeks, or months. Remind them that they didn't fail, they're learning how to quit, and that you'll be there for them the next time, and for as long as they need you. Encourage them to give it another shot. If you try again is not a good phrase to use. When you try again, say, according to studies, most people who fail to quit are willing to attempt again in the near future. Encourage them to learn from their mistakes. Things learned from a failed attempt at quitting could help someone quit for real the next time. It takes time and effort to learn how to live a smoke-free lifestyle. It's normal to fail the first few times you try to quit, remark. This time you didn't smoke for amount of time. Now you know you're capable of so much. Next time, you'll be able to go much further. Most people are aware of this and are aware that they must attempt to quit once more. If you smoke and are in contact with someone trying to quit, smoke outside and away from the person who is attempting to stop. Keeping your smokes, lighters, and matches out of sight is a good idea. They could be smoking triggers for your loved one. Never, ever provide a smoker or any other type of tobacco to someone who is attempting to stop, even if it's a joke. Join your loved one in their attempt to quit smoking. It'll be healthier for your health, and it can be simpler if you do it with someone else who is also trying to quit.
Ano ang secondhand smoke? Ang passive smoking ay ang paglanghap ng usok ng tabako, na tinatawag na secondhand smoke, SHS, o environmental tobacco smoke, ETS, ng mga tao maliban sa nilalayong, aktibong, naninigarilyo. Ito ay nangyayari kapag ang usok ng tabako ay pumasok sa isang kapaligiran, na nagiging sanhi ng paglanghap nito ng mga tao sa loob ng kapaligirang iyon. Ang pagkakalantad sa secondhand na usok ng tabako ay nagdudulot ng sakit, kapansanan, at kamatayan. Ang mga panganib sa kalusugan ng secondhand smoke ay isang bagay ng siyentipikong pinagkasunduan. Ang mga panganib na ito ay naging pangunahing motibasyon para sa mga batas na walang usok sa mga lugar ng trabaho at panloob na pampublikong lugar, kabilang ang mga restaurant, bar, at nightclub, gayon din ang ilang bukas na pampublikong espasyo. Ang mga alalahanin tungkol sa secondhand smoke ay may mahalagang papel sa debate sa mga pinsala at regulasyon ng mga produktong tabako. Mula noong unang bahagi ng 1970s, tiningnan ng industriya ng tabako ang pampublikong pag-aalala sa secondhand smoke bilang isang seryosong banta sa mga interes ng negosyo nito. Ang pinsala sa mga bystanders ay nakita bilang isang motivator para sa mas mahigpit na regulasyon ng mga produktong tabako, sa kabila ng kamalayan ng industriya sa mga pinsala ng secondhand smoke noong 1980s. Ang industriya ng tabako ay nag-coordinate ng isang siyentipikong kontrobersya na may layuning ihinto ang regulasyon ng kanilang mga produkto. Ano ang sinasabi ng World Health Organization tungkol sa secondhand smoke? Nakakamatay ang secondhand smoke. Ito ay ayon sa web post ng WHO noong ika-26 ng Hulyo taong 2021. Ang secondhand smoke ay ang usok na pumupuno sa mga nakapaloob na espasyo kapag ang mga tao ay nagsusunog ng mga produktong tabako tulad ng mga sigarilyo, bidis at mga tubo ng tubig. Walang ligtas na antas ng pagkakalantad sa second-hand na usok ng tabako, na nagdudulot ng higit sa 1.2 milyong napaaga na pagkamatay bawat taon at malubhang sakit sa cardiovascular at respiratory. Halos kalahati ng mga bata ang regular na humihinga ng hanging na damhan ng usok ng tabako sa mga pampublikong lugar, at 65,000 ang namamatay bawat taon mula sa mga sakit na dulot ng second-hand smoke. Sa mga sanggol, pinapataas nito ang panganib ng sudden infant death syndrome. Sa mga buntis na kababaihan, nagdudulot ito ng mga komplikasyon sa pagbubuntis at mababang timbang ng panganganak. Ang mga batas na walang paninigarilyo ay nagpoprotekta sa kalusugan ng mga hindi naninigarilyo at sikat, dahil hindi ito nakakasama sa negosyo at hinihikayat nila ang mga naninigarilyo na huminto. Bakit pumapatay ang second-hand smoke ayon sa World Health Organization? Parehong aktibo at segunda manong naninigarilyo ay dumaranas ng epekto ng paninigarilyo ng tabako. Ang epidemya ng tabako ay isa sa pinakamalaking banta sa kalusugan ng publiko na naranasan ng mundo, na pumatay ng higit sa 8 milyong tao sa isang taon sa buong mundo. Mahigit sa 7 milyon sa mga pagkamatay na iyon ay resulta ng direktang paggamit ng tabako habang humigit kumulang 1.2 milyon ang resulta ng mga hindi naninigarilyo na nalantad sa second-hand smoke. Ang lahat ng anyo ng tabako ay nakakapinsala, at walang ligtas na antas ng pagkakalantad sa tabako. Ang paninigarilyo ay ang pinakakaraniwang uri ng paggamit ng tabako sa buong mundo. Kasama sa iba pang produktong tabako ang water pipe na tabako, iba't ibang produktong walang usok na tabako, sigarilyo, roll your own tobacco, pipe tobacco, BDs at kretek. Ang paggamit ng water pipe na tabako ay nakakapinsala sa kalusugan sa mga katulad na paraan sa paggamit ng tabako sa sigarilyo. Gayunpaman, ang mga panganib sa kalusugan ng paggamit ng water pipe na tabako ay kadalasang hindi gaanong naiintindihan ng mga gumagamit. Ang paggamit ng walang usok na tabako ay lubos na nakakahumaling at nakakapinsala sa kalusugan. Ang walang usok na tabako ay naglalaman ng maraming lason na nagdudulot ng kanser at ang paggamit nito ay nagpapataas ng panganib ng mga kanser sa ulo, leeg, lalamunan, esophagus at oral cavity kabilang ang kanser sa bibig, dila, labi at gilagid gayon din ng iba't ibang sakit sa ngipin. Mahigit sa 80% ng 1.3 bilyong gumagamit ng tabako sa buong mundo ay nakatira sa mga bansang mababa at katamtaman ang kita, kung saan ang pasanin ng sakit na nauugnay sa tabako at kamatayan ay pinakamabigat. Ang paggamit ng tabako ay nag-aambag sa kahirapan sa pamamagitan ng paglilipat ng paggasta ng sambahayan mula sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan tulad ng pagkain at tirahan patungo sa tabako. Ang mga pang-ekonomiyang gastos sa paggamit ng tabako ay malaki at kasama ang malaking gastos sa pangangalagang pangkalusugan para sa paggamot sa mga sakit na dulot ng paggamit ng tabako gayon din ang nawawalang puhunan ng tao na nagreresulta mula sa morbidity at mortalidad na nauugnay sa tabako. Sa ilang bansa ang mga bata mula sa mahihirap na sambahayan ay nagtatrabaho sa pagsasaka ng tabako upang mapalago ang kita ng pamilya. Ang mga magsasaka na nagtatanim ng tabako ay nalantad din sa ilang mga panganib sa kalusugan, kabilang ang green tobacco sickness. Ano ang mga epekto ng second-hand smoke sa iyong kalusugan? Ang second-hand smoke ay pinaghalong usok mula sa nasusunog na dulo ng sigarilyo at usok na inilalabas ng mga naninigarilyo. Mahigit sa 7,000 compound ang matatagpuan sa second-hand smoke. Ang daan-daang mga ito ay lason, at humigit kumulang 69 sa mga ito ay maaaring maging sanhi ng kanser. Mula noong 1964 Surgeon General's Report, 2.5 milyong hindi naninigarilyo ang namatay bilang resulta ng paglanghap ng second-hand smoke. Walang ligtas na threshold ng pagkakalantad ng second-hand smoke. Sa mga bagong silang at bata, ang paninigarilyo ng second-hand ay nagdudulot ng iba't ibang alalahanin sa kalusugan, kabilang ang mas madalas at matinding pag-atake ng hika, impeksyon sa baga, impeksyon sa tainga, at sudden infant death syndrome (SIDS). Taon-taon, mahigit 1,000 sanggol ang namamatay bilang resulta ng paninigarilyo sa panahon ng pagbubuntis. Ang coronary heart disease, stroke, at kanser sa baga ay ilan lamang sa mga problema sa kalusugan na dulot ng second-hand smoke sa mga matatanda. Ang cardiovascular disease ay dulot ng second-hand smoke. Ang pagkakalantad sa second-hand smoke ay may agarang masamang epekto sa cardiovascular system at maaaring magdulot ng coronary heart disease at stroke. Ang second-hand smoke ay nagdudulot ng halos 34,000 maagang pagkamatay mula sa sakit sa puso bawat taon sa Estados Unidos sa mga hindi naninigarilyo. Ang mga hindi naninigarilyo na nalantad sa secondhand smoke sa bahay o sa trabaho ay nagdaragdag ng kanilang panganib na magkaroon ng sakit sa puso ng 25 hanggang 30%. Pinapataas ng secondhand smoke ang panganib ng stroke ng 20-30%. Ang pagkakalantad ng secondhand smoke ay nagdudulot ng higit sa 8,000 pagkamatay mula sa stroke taon-taon. Ang paglanghap ng secondhand smoke ay maaaring magkaroon ng agarang masamang epekto sa iyong dugo at mga daluyan ng dugo, na nagdaragdag ng panganib na magkaroon ng atake sa puso. Ang paglanghap ng secondhand smoke ay nakakasagabal sa normal na paggana ng puso, dugo, at mga vascular system sa mga paraan na nagpapataas ng panganib na magkaroon ng atake sa puso. Kahit na ang maikling pagkakalantad sa secondhand smoke ay maaaring makapinsala sa lining ng mga daluyan ng dugo at maging sanhi ng pagdikit ng iyong mga platelet sa dugo. Ang mga pagbabagong ito ay maaaring magdulot ng nakamamatay na atake sa puso. Ang mga taong mayroon ng sakit sa puso ay nasa mataas na panganib na makaranas ng masamang epekto mula sa paghinga ng secondhand smoke at dapat magsagawa ng mga espesyal na pag-iingat upang maiwasan ang kahit na panandaliang pagkakalantad. Ang kanser sa baga ay dulot ng secondhand smoke. Ang secondhand smoke ay nagdudulot ng kanser sa baga sa mga nasa hustong gulang na hindi pa naninigarilyo. Ang mga hindi naninigarilyo na nalantad sa secondhand smoke sa bahay o sa trabaho ay nagdaragdag ng kanilang panganib na magkaroon ng kanser sa baga ng 20 hanggang 30%. Ang secondhand smoke ay nagdudulot ng higit sa 7,300 pagkamatay ng kanser sa baga sa mga hindi naninigarilyo sa US bawat taon. Ang mga hindi naninigarilyo na nalantad sa secondhand smoke ay nalalanghap ang marami sa parehong mga sangkap na nagdudulot ng kanser at mga lason gaya ng mga naninigarilyo. Kahit na ang maikling pagkakalantad sa secondhand smoke ay maaaring makapinsala sa mga selula sa mga paraan na nagpapakilos sa proseso ng kanser. Tulad ng aktibong paninigarilyo, mas mahaba ang tagal at mas mataas ang antas ng pagkakalantad sa secondhand smoke, mas malaki ang panganib na magkaroon ng kanser sa baga. Ang SIDS ay sanhi ng secondhand smoke. Ang Sudden Infant Death Syndrome (SIDS) ay ang biglaang, hindi maipaliwanag, hindi inaasahang pagkamatay ng isang sanggol sa unang taon ng buhay. Ang SIDS ang pangunahing sanhi ng kamatayan sa mga malulusog na sanggol. Pinapataas ng secondhand smoke ang panganib para sa SIDS. Ang paninigarilyo ng mga kababaihan sa panahon ng pagbubuntis ay nagpapataas ng panganib para sa SIDS. Ang mga sanggol na nalantad sa secondhand smoke pagkatapos ng kapanganakan ay mas nasa panganib din para sa SIDS. Ang mga kemikal sa secondhand smoke ay lumilitaw na nakakaapekto sa utak sa mga paraan na nakakasagabal sa regulasyon nito sa paghinga ng mga sanggol. Ang mga sanggol na namamatay mula sa SIDS ay may mas mataas na konsentrasyon ng nikotina sa kanilang mga baga at mas mataas na antas ng Cat9, isang biological marker para sa secondhand smoke exposure kaysa sa mga sanggol na namamatay mula sa ibang mga sanhi. Makakatulong ang mga magulang na protektahan ang kanilang mga sanggol mula sa SIDS sa pamamagitan ng pagsasagawa ng sumusunod na 3 aksyon. Huwag manigarilyo sa panahon ng pagbubuntis. Huwag manigarilyo o pahintulutan ang paninigarilyo sa iyong tahanan o sa paligid ng iyong sanggol. Ilagay ang iyong sanggol sa kanyang likod para sa lahat ng oras ng pagtulog, naps at sa gabi. Sa mga bata, ang secondhand smoke ay maaaring magdulot ng mga pangunahing alalahanin sa kalusugan. Ang mga bata na humihinga ng secondhand smoke ay mas malamang na makaranas ng wheezing at pag-ubo, at ang secondhand smoke ay maaaring magdulot ng atake sa hika sa isang bata. Kapag ang mga batang may hika ay nalantad sa secondhand smoke, ang kanilang pag-atake ng hika ay mas malala at madalas. Ang isang matinding yugto ng hika ay maaaring ilagay sa panganib ang buhay ng isang bata. Ang mga infeksyon sa tainga ay mas karaniwan sa mga bata na ang mga magulang ay naninigarilyo sa kanilang paligid. Mayroon din silang likido sa kanilang mga tainga ng mas madalas at nangangailangan ng mas maraming operasyon sa paglalagay ng tubo sa tainga. Makakatulong ang mga magulang na protektahan ang kanilang mga anak mula sa secondhand smoke sa pamamagitan ng pagsasagawa ng mga sumusunod na aksyon. Huwag pahintulutan ang sinuman na manigarilyo saan man sa loob o malapit sa iyong tahanan. Huwag hayaang manigarilyo ang sinuman sa iyong sasakyan, kahit nakababa ang bintana. Siguraduhin na ang mga daycare center at paaralan ng iyong mga anak ay walang tabako. Kung pinapayagan pa rin ng iyong estado ang paninigarilyo sa mga pampublikong lugar, maghanap ng mga restoran at iba pang mga lugar na hindi pinapayagan ang paninigarilyo. Hindi pinoprotektahan ng mga seksyong bawal manigarilyo ka at ang iyong pamilya mula sa secondhand smoke. Anong mga toxic chemical ang nilalaman sa usok ng tobacco? Ang usok ng tabako ay naglalaman ng maraming kemikal na nakakasama sa mga naninigarilyo at hindi naninigarilyo. Ang paghinga kahit kaunting usok ng tabako ay maaaring makasama sa mahigit 7,000 na kemikal sa usok ng tabako, hindi bababa sa 250 ang kilala na nakakapinsala, kabilang ang hydrogen cyanide, carbon monoxide, at ammonia. Sa 250 kilalang nakakapinsalang kemikal sa usok ng tabako, hindi bababa sa 69 ang maaaring magdulot ng kanser. Ang mga kemikal na nagdudulot ng kanser na ito ay kinabibilangan ng mga sumusunod. Acetaldehyde. Ang acetaldehyde ay isang malinaw na likido na madaling masunog. Ang acetaldehyde ay may malakas at mabungang amoy na sa mataas na konsentrasyon ay maaaring maging mahirap sa paghinga. Kilala rin bilang ethanol, ang acetaldehyde ay natural na nabubuo sa katawan at sa mga halaman. Ang ilan sa acetaldehyde ay pumapasok sa iyong dugo, na sumisira sa iyong mga lamad at posibleng magdulot ng peklat na tissue. Ito rin ay humahantong sa isang hangover, at maaaring magresulta sa mas mabilis na tibok ng puso, sakit ng ulo, o sakit ng tiyan. Ang utak ay pinakaapektado ng acetaldehyde poisoning. Nagdudulot ito ng mga problema sa aktibidad ng utak at maaaring makapinsala sa memorya. Aromatic amines. Ang aromatic amine ay isang organic compound na binubuo ng isang aromatic ring na nakakabit sa isang amine. Ito ay isang malawak na klase ng mga compound na sumasaklaw sa mga aniline, ngunit marami ring mas komplikadong mga aromatic na singsing at maraming mga substituent ng amine na lampas sa NH2. Ang ganitong mga compound ay nangyayari ng malawakan. Ang aromatic amines ay mga kemikal na matatagpuan sa mga pang-industriya at pagmamanupaktura na halaman, usok ng tabako, pangkomersyal na pangkulay ng buhok, at tambutso ng diesel. Marami ang carcinogens at endocrine disruptors na maaaring magpapataas ng panganib ng breast cancer. Arsenic. Ang arsenic ay isang kemikal na elemento na may simbolo na As at atomic number 33. Ang arsenic ay nangyayari sa maraming mineral, kadalasang pinagsama sa sulfur at metal, ngunit bilang isang purong elemental na kristal. Ang arsenic ay isang metalloid. Ang paghinga sa mataas na antas ng arsenic ay maaaring magdulot ng pananakit ng lalamunan at pangangati ng mga baga. Ang paglunok ng mataas na antas ng arsenic ay maaaring magdulot ng pagduduwal, pagsusuka, pagtatae, panghihina at pagkrampang ng kalamnan, mga pantal sa balat, at iba pang mga problema. Ang pagkakalantad sa sapat na mataas na halaga ng arsenic ay maaaring nakamamatay. Benzene. Ang benzene ay isang kemikal na walang kulay o mapusyaw na dilaw na likido sa temperatura ng silid. Mayroon itong matamis na amoy at lubos na nasusunog. Ang benzene ay sumangga sa hangin ng napakabilis. Ang singaw nito ay mas mabigat kaysa sa hangin at maaaring lumubog sa mababang lugar. Bahagyang natutunaw ang benzene sa tubig at lulutang sa ibabaw ng tubig. Ang benzene ay nagdudulot ng mga mapaminsalang epekto sa bone marrow at maaaring magdulot ng pagbaba sa mga pulang selula ng dugo, na humahantong sa anemia. Maaari rin itong maging sanhi ng labis na pagdurugo at maaaring makaapekto sa immune system, na nagdaragdag ng pagkakataon para sa impeksyon. 1. 3-butadiene a hazardous gas. Ang 1,3-butadiene ay isang synthetic, walang kulay na gas na halos hindi matutunaw sa tubig at natutunaw sa ethanol, ether, acetone at benzene. Pangunahing ginagamit ito bilang monomer upang gumawa ng maraming iba't ibang uri ng polymer at copolymer at bilang intermediate ng kemikal sa paggawa ng mga kemikal na pang-industriya. Kapag pinainit, ang 1,3-butadiene ay naglalabas ng matitinding usok at nasusunog. Sa pagkakaroon ng hangin, nag-oxidize ito upang bumuo ng mga paputok na peroxide. Ang pangunahing ruta ng potensyal na pagkakalantad ng tao sa tambalang ito ay ang paglanghap. Ang matinding pagkakalantad sa 1,3-butadiene ay maaaring magdulot ng pangangati ng mga mata, mga daanan ng ilong at lalamunan. Sa napakataas na konsentrasyon, ang paglanghap ng gas na ito ay maaaring magresulta sa pananakit ng ulo, pagkapagod, pagbaba ng presyon ng dugo at pulso, pinsala sa central nervous system at kawalan ng malay. Ito ay kilala bilang isang human carcinogen, NCI 05. Sa mga tao, ang paglanghap ng napakataas na konsentrasyon ng 1,3-butadiene ay maaaring magresulta sa mga epekto ng CNS kabilang ang pagkahilo, pananakit ng ulo, antok, pagkapagod, vertigo, ataksya, kawalan ng malay, pagkawala ng malay, at depresyon sa paghinga at kamatayan. Cadmium a toxic metal. Ang cadmium ay isang kemikal na elemento na may simbolo na CD at atomic number 48. Ang malambot, kulay pilak puting metal na ito ay kemikal na katulad ng dalawang iba pang matatag na metal sa pangkat 12, zinc at mercury. Ang cadmium at ang mga compound nito ay lubhang nakakalason at ang pagkakalantad sa metal na ito ay kilala na nagdudulot ng cancer at tina-target ang cardiovascular, renal, gastrointestinal, neurological, reproductive, at respiratory system ng katawan. Chromium a metallic element. Ang chromium ay isang kemikal na elemento na may simbolo na Cre at atomic number 24. Ito ang unang elemento sa pangkat-6. Ito ay isang steely gray, may kintab, matigas, at malutong na transition metal. Ang chromium ay ang pangunahing additive sa hindi kinakalawang na asero, kung saan nagdaragdag ito ng mga anti-corrosive na katangian. Ang mga manggagawang humihinga sa mataas na konsentrasyon ng hexavalent chromium ay maaaring makaranas ng mga epekto sa kalusugan, tulad ng pangangati sa lining ng ilong, mga ulcer sa ilong, runny nose, mga problema sa paghinga na nauugnay sa wheeze, ubo, igsi ng paghinga. Cumene. Ang cumene isopropyl benzene ay isang organic compound na batay sa isang aromatic hydrocarbon na may aliphatic substitution. Ito ay isang constituent ng crudo at pinong-gatong. Ito ay isang nasusunog na walang kulay na likido na may kumukulo na 152 degrees Celsius. Ang talamak o panandaliang pagkakalantad sa paglanghap sa cumene ay maaaring magdulot ng pananakit ng ulo, pagkahilo, pag-aantok, bahagyang incoordination, at kawalan ng malay sa mga tao. Ang cumene ay may potent central nervous system CNS depressant action na nailalarawan sa pamamagitan ng mabagal na induction period at mahabang tagal ng narcotic effect sa mga hayop. Ethylene Oxide. Ang ethylene oxide ay isang nasusunog na walang kulay na gas na may matamis na amoy. Ito ay pangunahing ginagamit upang makagawa ng iba pang mga kemikal, kabilang ang antifreeze. Sa mas maliliit na halaga, ang ethylene oxide ay ginagamit bilang isang pestisidyo at isang sterilizing agent. Ang pagkakalantad sa ethylene oxide ay maaaring magdulot ng pananakit ng ulo, pagduduwal, pagsusuka, pagtatae, kahirapan sa paghinga, pag-aantok, panghihina, pagkahapo, paso sa mata at balat, frostbite, at mga epekto sa reproduktibo. Maaaring mapinsala ang mga manggagawa mula sa pagkakalantad sa ethylene oxide. Ang antas ng pagkakalantad ay depende sa dosis, tagal, at gawaing ginagawa. Formaldehyde. Ang formaldehyde ay isang malakas na amoy, walang kulay na gas na ginagamit sa paggawa ng mga materyales sa gusali at maraming produktong pambahay. Ginagamit ito sa mga produktong pinindot na kahoy, tulad ng particle board, plywood, at fiberboard, pandikit at pandikit, permanenteng pindutin ang mga tela, mga patong ng produktong papel, at ilang mga materyales sa pagkakabukod. Kapag ang formaldehyde ay nasa hangin sa mga antas na mas mataas sa 0.1 parts per million ppm, ang ilang tao ay maaaring magkaroon ng mga epekto sa kalusugan, gaya ng matubig na mata, nasusunog na sensasyon ng mata, ilong, at lalamunan, pag-ubo, paghinga, pagduduwal, balat pangangati. Nickel a metallic element. Ang nickel ay isang kemikal na elemento na may simbolo na Ni at atomic number 28. Ito ay isang kulay pilak puti na may kintab na metal na may bahagyang gininto ang kulay. Ang nickel ay kabilang sa mga transition metal at matigas at ductile. Ang pagkakalantad sa iba't ibang mga compound ng nickel ay nagpapataas ng panganib ng kanser sa baga at kanser sa ilong. Polonium-210 a radioactive chemical element. Ang polonium-210 ay ang radioactive isotope na naging sanhi ng pagkamatay ng dating Soviet spy na si Alexander Litvinenko sa London noong 2006. Ito ay nakamamatay na nakakalason ngunit bihira. Ang polonium-210 ay isang kilalang carcinogen. Kapag nilalanghap, nagiging sanhi ito ng kanser sa baga. Kapag nalunok, ito ay nagiging puro sa mga pulang selula ng dugo, bago kumalat sa atay, bato, bone marrow, gastrointestinal tract, at mga testicle o ovaries. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons PAHs. Ang polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons PAHs ay isang klase ng mga kemikal na natural na nangyayari sa karbon, krudo, at gasolina. Ginagawa rin ang mga ito kapag sinunog ang karbon, langis, gas, kahoy, basura, at tabako. Ang naphthalene ay isang pa na ginawa sa komersyo sa Estados Unidos upang makagawa ng iba pang mga kemikal at mothball. Ang mga pangmatagalang epekto sa kalusugan ng pagkakalantad sa mga pa ay maaaring kabilang ang mga catarata, pinsala sa bato at atay, at paninilaw ng balat. Ang paulit-ulit na pagkakadikit ng balat sa pa-naphthalene ay maaaring magresulta sa pamumula at pamamaga ng balat. Ang paghinga o paglunok ng malaking halaga ng naphthalene ay maaaring maging sanhi ng pagkasira ng mga pulang selula ng dugo. Tobacco-specific nitrosamines. Isang uri ng nakakapinsalang kemikal na nagdudulot ng kanser na matatagpuan sa tabako at usok ng tabako. Ang mga tobacco-specific nitrosamines ay nabubuo kapag ang mga dahon ng tabako ay lumaki, gumaling, tumanda, at naproseso. Ang mga produktong tabako ay maaaring maglaman ng iba't ibang dami ng nitrosamines na partikular sa tabako, depende sa kung paano ginawa ang mga ito. Ang sigarilyo ay kadalasang nagdadala sa usok nito ng malalaking dosis ng carcinogenic tobacco-specific nitrosamines TSNs na nasangkot bilang mga sanhi ng oral, lung, esophageal, at pancreatic cancer. Venal chloride. Ang venal chloride ay isang walang kulay na gas na madaling masunog. Ang vinyl chloride ay pangunahing ginagamit sa paggawa ng polyvinyl chloride PVC. Ginagamit ang PVC upang gumawa ng iba't ibang mga produktong plastic, kabilang ang mga tubo, wire at cable coatings, at mga materyales sa packaging. Ginagawa rin ang vinyl chloride bilang produkto ng pagkasunog sa usok ng tabako. Ang vinyl chloride ay maaaring makairita sa mga mata, mucous membrane, at respiratory tract. Ang pagtakas sa nakakompress na gas o likido ay maaaring magdulot ng frostbite o pangangati ng balat at mga mata. Ang talamak na pagkakalantad ay maaaring magdulot ng permanenteng pinsala sa atay at kanser sa atay, mga sintomas ng neurologic o asal, at mga pagbabago sa balat at buto ng kamay.